So a topic I wanted to cover today was basically regarding how we make bar chords and demystifying the idea of how we use the capo, just so that our fundamentals are clear regarding these two concepts. To start off with, let's learn about what chords are there apart from bar chords. So I personally like to separate them into two categories: open chords and closed chords. Open chords are chords like E major, A major, C major, G major, D major, A minor, and so on. Now, why is it that they're called open chords? I'm sure some of you might be thinking right now about the answer, and that is because they're using open strings. Strings when we're not playing a fret. So an open string means you're not fretting anything on that string. So those are our open chords. Then we have our closed chords like this one. C major 7, add 9. Now don't worry about the complicated words and names. It's pretty straightforward. This chord just means that it's a C major triad with a major 7th attached to it and then a 9th. If a C major scale has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 notes, 8 is C again, the 9 will be 2, if the maths make sense. So think about it. C is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. C is 8 again. The 9 will just be the second degree in a higher octave. Octave means a span of 8 notes. These are topics that I'll leave some links in the description that will cover them in depth, because right now I'm mostly focused on the theory behind bar chords and how to use the capo. Then there's another chord like this. This is a D major, D minor 7, add 9. It's pretty sound. So here I'm playing a closed shape, only frets, but I'm not barring anything. So we have open chords, we have closed chords, and then we have bar chords. Now how I like to categorize them is by explaining them as derivative chords. That means they're derived from or made from other kinds of chords. Now what kind of chords can they be made out of? Well, we have an option in open and closed chords. Let's see a chord like D, for example. If we were to make it into a bar chord, we have to leave our first finger free. So shifting it by a fret, notice, are we shifting every single note of the chord? Of course we're not. In the D major chord, the open D is there, but if we shifted a semitone or a half step forward, 1 fret forward, that D doesn't follow us. Therefore, we have to bar at the first fret to make sure the D follows us. So you notice this is slightly harder to play. There's a lot of buzzing going on. So this is not a very practical shape. So this is a bar chord. We can make the same kind of bar chord with C major. So if we have C like this with my first finger free, we shift it a half step or semitone forward, 1 fret forward, and then to compensate for the lack of open strings, I bar it on the first fret. That gives us C sharp major or D flat major, right? Because after C, it's either C sharp or D flat if you're going backwards from D. Now these shapes are slightly inconvenient. You will see them commonly in classical music, for example, arpeggiating these shapes, things like that. But these are impractical to play. So we use two specific shapes that make more sense, a little more comfortable to play. That is our E shape and our A shape. Now look at our E shape first, the tonic. Now this is a word I'll be using a lot in this video. The tonic means the first note of a chord or a scale. So in E major, for example, the tonic will be E, and it's found on the low E. It'll be the lowest note of a chord if it's not an inversion. Inversion means where you change the order of notes. So now the tonic is in the lowest note, but in every chord, if I say A major, you will probably play an A major with A at the root, A as the lowest note. Okay, Same thing with E major here. We're playing E major with E as the root. So if E is at the root and E is open, if I shift E by half a step, a semitone or one fret, that E doesn't follow me. So I have to bar it at the first fret and suddenly it becomes an F major chord, okay? And so on and so forth. E, F sharp or G flat, G sharp or A flat, A, and so on and so forth. The same logic applies for the A major chord. But however, the root for the A major open chord is on the A string. So now we'll bar from the A string. So if we move this forward by a half step or a semitone, then the open strings don't follow us. Therefore, we have to place a bar. Now notice there's an empty fret here between the notes that I'm playing and the open strings. Therefore, the bar will also have an empty fret here. Now this chord is also played with the ring finger as a bar as well. But sometimes you have to make sure that the ring finger isn't touching the high E string, or that can get muted. You can also play it with the pinky as a bar. That's also very common. Okay, so we've learned that bar chords are derivative chords derived from open chords, mostly E shape and A shape. Now why am I not saying E minor shape or E major shape specifically? That is because it applies both to E major, E minor, A major and A minor. So for example, if I play E minor, just lift my first finger out of there, make that major third into a minor third, and I shift it by half a step, a semitone, a fret, and add a bar, that's F minor, F sharp minor. Same thing with A. If I shift this note, C sharp, second fret on the B string, a semitone back, that makes me an A minor chord, right? And if I shift it forward, suddenly it's a B flat minor chord, or A sharp minor chord, then a B minor chord, then a C minor chord, and so on and so forth. So anytime you want to make a bar chord, look for the tonic, either on the E string or on the A string. Okay, so let's take an example. What if we want to play, let's say, G sharp as a bar chord? Now the first step I usually take is I check the distance between the note that I want and the two open strings I can use to play it in shapes of E and A. So if it's an E shape, I'll be playing the tonic on the E string. If it's an A shape, I'll be playing the tonic on the A string. So if I want G sharp, which is the closest? Is it A, B, C, D, E, F, G sharp? Or is it E, F, G sharp? It's clear that G sharp is closest to E. So I'll be playing it on the E string in the E shape. So E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp. And here is where I'll place the bar. And then with the rest of my fingers make the shape of an E major chord. Or if I want a G sharp minor, I just lift the middle finger here. You can see closely, if I shift this back to open, that's what makes an E major chord. And here, 4 semitones forward, 4 half steps forward, we have a G sharp major chord. So that's the first part covered. How do we make bar chords? Let's take one last example. What if we want D major as a bar chord? So first step, which is the closest shape? A shape or E shape? E, F, G, A, B, C, D. That's a lot of notes to cover versus A, B, C, D. Less notes to cover. So let's check the A string. A, B, C, D. So D is on the 5th fret of the A string. So I put a bar there and then make the shape of A major. Remember, A major has an empty fret before it. So therefore there will be an empty fret and then you will make the shape of A major. However it is comfortable for you. Whether you use these 3 fingers, whether you use the ring finger as a bar, whether you use the pinky as the bar. Okay.